Right, good to go. Hi guys, welcome. This is Andrew Holmes, and every single week on Sunday from 12 to 1, what do we talk about? We talk about one thing and one thing only, and that is how do you make money with real estate? This is Andrew Holmes with Chicago Flipping, and today we have a good friend, Rosario, in the studio. I'm not rather than kind of get into his all the things that he's doing. He's a REO broker, and now he's kind of put together a way for investors like us to find phenomenal deals. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of introduce Rosario. So Rosario, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Definitely. So man, give us a bit of a background of you started a company called Resurrecting Real Estate.
Yes.
Right. So this was I imagine after the crash.
Yes.
Right. And you kind of went, I mean, you shot up with that like way up, like one of the top brokers. And then as the market is changing, you're doing something different. So first, can you talk about being a REO broker? What was it like? What do you see? Where do you think the industry is heading? And then let's talk a little bit about ClickInvest.
Absolutely. If I could start a little bit before
Sure,
that, if that's
absolutely.
fine. So I got into business in 2003. Prior to that, I was in the financial market. So I actually, my first mentor was an REO broker.
Okay.
So that's all I know is distressed property.
Okay.
Never been on the retail side. So got in 2003. In 2005, got my GC license and started rehabbing for myself.
Okay.
So started building a little rental portfolio. Was doing a ton of flips.
This is 2005.
This is 2005.
So height of the market.
The beginning. The beginning of the end.
Right. Beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I jumped in head first. I actually raised capital from family and friends, and started following the steps and just jumped right in. And that same year, I got married.
Right.
So a lot going on in my life at that time. Got up to about 10 rentals, and we had about 14 flips going in 2007 when the market turned.
Okay.
So I saw firsthand how quick you can lose everything. So because we lost everything.
So a millionaire on the books and then broke in reality.
Yeah.
Right. Real
Yeah.
real quick, and it's it just happens that quick, right? That quick, it can happen, and you don't know which way to turn. Right?
Absolutely. I still remember getting the phone call.
Right.
We had several. So we're building rental portfolio, and then we were doing flips, and the strategy was flip a property, take the proceeds, and attack the
rental.
mortgages. Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. So the problem was the flips. God forbid something happens, we're not going to cash flow.
Right.
Right. Minimum cash flow. So we were buying them, renting them out, and then selling them as yielding assets, but the yields were small, and at that time we were supposed to get the Olympics.
Right. Of course.
So that whole pocket was supposed to take off. But
you're talking about this is in Chicago.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
south side of Chicago.
South side, okay.
So market turned and got a phone call from my loan officer saying, "Hey, these deals are going to die." And I said, "What do you mean? The buyer's got 780 credit score. He's bought from us before." He said, "It's over. Nobody's going to get a loan."
Right.
And yeah, that was pretty nuts.
So obviously now you have some perspective because you can put behind you. I mean, at the time, you're newly married, obviously, right? I guess I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyways.
Yeah.
How devastating was it? I shouldn't say was it devastating. Of course, it was devastating. But how devastating was it?
I'm blessed with a great woman by
Right.
my side, and faith definitely plays a huge part in our marriage.
So that's something. The support from your spouse, huge, and whatever everybody's faith is, but you happen to put a lot of it in terms of what your faith is.
Yep.
That those two things kind of carried you through.
Absolutely, 100%. I would have been done. I mean, my wife was there every day, motivating me to get up and go at it again. So that was a huge piece. And then having good mentors around me. Yeah, I've always been blessed with really good people around me, good mentors.
Rosario, three things, which I want to kind of get at a critical thing. Number one, you had the support from your wife.
Yep.
Right. Number two, you said your faith, your belief system.
Yep.
Right. In terms of some people call it religion, but I think it's really faith. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
And the third thing, which I think is a critical piece, that you can have the first two, but if you don't have a mentor which says, something, yeah, it's all dark here, but here's the light.
Yeah.
We've gone through it, buddy, and it's going to work.
Yep.
Right. A lot of times, I think that's a big deal whenever you're in the moments, because you can just only see the next week, the next month, and you're like, I don't see any hope.
Yep.
Right? Okay. So you put that behind you. What's the next step?
So I have my GC license, and right away I, pretty humbling experience. The REO brokers that I used to buy from, I was now calling on the phone saying, hey, can I go do all your trash outs?
Sure.
So all the dirty work,
Right.
so all the property preservation for these bank-owned assets. So these guys, thank God, were giving me business, and I was going along. And then one of my mentors approached me and said, man, you know so much about this game. You've been on the investment side. Why don't you just launch an REO brokerage? There's going to be a ton of inventory coming up, and these banks need guys like you to service them. So I was very hesitant in jumping in, but I had nothing else really going for me. So we launched Resurrecting Real Estate in 2009. He introduced me to a ton of servicing companies. So those are the guys that handle the assets for the banks, those properties for the banks, and we just exploded from there. You know,
Okay.
I've always been a systems guy, so the banks just lit us up. With
So
properties.
let's just kind of talk about numbers. I mean,
Mhm.
Resurrecting Real Estate was nowhere. I mean, it didn't even
Zero,
exist,
yeah.
right? When did you start open the company?
February 2009.
2009. So
Yeah.
you were actually late in the game, man. You're not. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
early. The early people
2008.
were
yeah.
right. I mean, like Ryan Smith's mom and all those kind
Yeah.
of people.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They have been. Koya Smith has been in the business for a long time.
20 years,
right?
30 years. Almost.
So, but yet you scaled up at a very hard pace.
Yeah.
Right. What were the numbers that you guys were hitting at the top of the market?
So our first year, we started in February. We closed 160 homes that year, 2009.
Year one.
Yeah, year one. Year two, 250. Year three was 350. Year four, I think we finally hit 500. And then in 2014, I think it was 640 homes. Something like that was our
640
top. Yeah.
Okay. So you went from being a real estate entrepreneur to a top REO broker,
Yep.
right, in the area. Then you made the third switch, which is now,
Yes.
right, which is ClickInvest.
Yep.
Why and what is this exactly?
So in 2014, so our claim to fame, I guess, we had the REO and we were growing on that side, and then we were approached by a large hedge fund that came into our market on the acquisition side. So, you know, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but from 2012 to 2015, hedge funds, institutional, you know, Wall Street came into our market and in several markets across the country and started eating up properties.
Inventory, right.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of properties, right? So we were approached by the group that led the market here,
Right.
and we ended up being their top broker. So through this whole process, we built out systems, and that's really where ClickInvest came from. These guys wanted to submit 150 offers a week and buy 100 properties a month. So we had to build a system to service them. So we built this system, and we started servicing them on that front. But then they slowed down in 2014 because they came in, they bought a ton of property in 2 years, and now we've got this great system. And you go, well, now what, right? And at this point, 2014, the REO inventory started to decline, right? So now as an REO broker, it's the landscape is too competitive and the inventory is drying up. So what do we do? So there was an article published in Cranes about us, and sure enough, people start blowing us up, and flippers start calling us and say, hey, why can you take what you've built and apply it to flipping? Well, absolutely. You know, that was our specialty. Well, that was my specialty before I lost everything.
Right.
So we made some adjustments to the system, and then we started servicing flippers in the market.
Chicago Flipping with Andrew Holmes will return next Sunday at 12 noon. For information or questions about content of this show or to speak to Andrew, call 844-MONEY-55 or visit ChicagoCashflow.com to learn about upcoming seminars. That's 844-666-3955. And be sure to tune in next week.